top things I hear from you all is that buttonholes freak you out. So listen, I'm gonna need you to run to the potty, get you a snack. We're gonna sew a buttonhole in real time. Those of you who need that like longer tutorial, this one's for you. I'm working on a skirt and I need to add 2 buttons to this little panel right here. So I've picked out the buttons that I want to use. And the first thing I need to do is mark where I want them to be. So I want them right here. So what I'm gonna do is slide a pin through where I want the bottom of my button to be. I'm gonna put one here and one here. Now I may not remember quite where that center was, so I'm gonna take a marking pencil and just put a little dot there. So I've got my bottoms of my button marked. I've got my dots where I want to center my buttonhole foot. And now it's time to get the buttonhole foot out. This is a buttonhole foot. The first step is to open up this back part and you're gonna load your button in. Now you may be wondering, why do you do this? By placing the button here, you're telling the machine how big to make the buttonhole. There's going to be a little drop bar that goes back and forth between this, and these little bars move dependent on the size of your button. I'm removing my current foot and I'm going to attach the buttonhole foot right where this bar is. Now look, do you see this little gray guy here that looks like a foot? You're gonna slide that down. And what this is going to do is go back and forth when you stitch between this and tell your machine exactly how big to make your buttonhole. These are my options for buttonholes on my machine. Just look in your manual if you're not sure. I'm gonna use a basic number 60 here. This button here loads that section of stitches that I was just looking at, and I'm gonna type the number 60. And that shows exactly the foot to use and what it's going to be sewing. You don't need to mess with any of these. Your machine is made to sew a buttonhole based on this selection. As you can see on my buttonhole foot, I've got several lines, and this is going to center that little dot that I made on my fabric. So slide it in there. I'm right on top of the dot, and I am going to lower my presser foot. Now at this point, it's okay to remove that pin because you've got everything lined up the way you want it to. All right, here's the hardest part of all. I'm just kidding. All you have to do is hold your pedal down. It's not a bad idea to just keep a hand on the machine and the fabric, but let the machine do its work. Let me show you. I'm gonna let this run its complete set of stitches, and then when this needle drops down a couple times, then you know it's done. Here we go. And you can go as fast or as slow as you want, depending on how hard you press that pedal. See that? I'm still holding my pedal down, but it's done sewing. I'm gonna clip my thread using my button, or you can raise your presser foot and clip your thread that way. And let's see what we've got here. Look at that cute little buttonhole. Let's do it again. I'm gonna line it up with my pin meeting the lines on the buttonhole foot, and then my dot is right center in between those red lines. Pull your pin out and let her rip. I promise, once you do this a few times, you'll realize that there was nothing to be scared of. And it really amplifies your sewing if you're able to install buttonholes, zippers, things that fasten. Think dresses and pants. This really is gonna help you in the long run. Okay, I'm still holding my pedal. Still holding it. My machine's telling me it's done. So I'm gonna lift my foot, clip my thread. Let's see what we've got. Look at that pretty buttonhole. Here is a little added bonus tip. I want you to take a pin and put it through the very top of that buttonhole. And what this is going to be is a stopper for your scissors. Now I'm going to put a little fray check in here, right in the divot of my buttonhole. And what this will do is keep the fabric from fraying once you cut through that fabric. To open that buttonhole, all you have to do is take your seam ripper. You're going to poke it in through the bottom without crossing over any of your threads, and then just slide it up. Now, why did we put that pin there? So I have something to stop me from ripping through the entire buttonhole. Pull your pin out and you're all set. Like and follow for more sewing tutorials.